Welcome back to the Positively Negative podcast,
where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of positivity in a world that can be quite negative. I'm Dalio.
And I'm Tim Humble, and we're glad you're here.
I'm Tim Humble.
I feel like I've just, I feel like a farmer's boy who's just got off like a train from, a bullet train for Japan, and I'm Tim Humble. Like, I don't know what nationality, I'm like a Mario
Swiss
or something
exchange
now.
student.
I've just had like 24 hours in Tokyo, or flashing lights and neon and computers, and I don't know who I am anymore, like a Mario character or some shit.
Hola, soy Tim Humble.
Hola, Tim Humble. It is 20 to 9 on a Thursday night.
No, it's not.
It is. She's effing and blinding.
I'm going to be the negative one today. I already feel it in my bones.
Yeah, Dale's had a bit of a rough day today. Just mainly from a tech point of view, work point of view. We're trying to pull it back. It's a weird one today because of the rain, because of just timings being out of sync and stuff like that.
Well, you woke up today thinking it was Friday.
Oh man, I feel like today's just like been awesome for me.
Yeah. Also, this is episode 47. I think we should start saying those numbers in the beginning.
Yeah, we're nearly up to 50 episodes.
Yeah, so it's episode number 47. If you have been binge listening, or this is not the first that you're listening to today, that doesn't even matter to you because we've never mentioned a number before today. It took us 47 episodes to decide we were going to say what episode number it is.
It's weird because, like, yeah.
That's kind of, well, I don't know. Some people do it, some people don't. I
we
don't
do
know what kind of
podcasts
people
completely
we are.
different way.
Yeah, that's true.
Most people do podcasts because they want to earn money or status or be known as a influencer in their field. I'm not interested in any of that shit. I just want to be able to have a conversation in audio and know that somewhere on the planet, commuting in a train, looking out of a glass window, my audio is touching your earlobes.
Wow, that's so mystical.
Well, okay.
So anyway, today sucked.
It didn't.
You know what? You know why it did though, and I'll tell you why. Is because nothing terrible happened. We all have all 10 fingers and 10 toes, and everything's fine. But some days, you have to expend 20 times the amount of energy to get like a normal's day worth of stuff done, and there's nothing that annoys me more than that, because I know how much effort it takes to do the things that I do in a day. And when you just have these days where the universe just puts you on a wild goose chase, and like you're firefighting and you're struggling with things, and it just feels like you're hiking up the mountain with a 40-pound weight on your back.
Yeah, but sometimes...
And you know what it's supposed to be like, and that's not what it's supposed to be like. And that drives me crazy.
I know, but sometimes you have to go through that. I mean, I'm not saying it was a good environment for you to be in, but like you were battling like technology and software in terms of like getting the audio input and stuff. It's a new thing for us.
I woke up this morning and my keyboard didn't even work.
It's a client that's come back. Yeah, but like I think that's like coldness has got into the board and storing it upside down and like flinging it around. Has it really? Oh, so Jersey. I'm sorry that your favourite fast food place shut down. Oh, that's so sad.
Who said fast food? Why do you have to bring fast food into it?
Everything's fast.
In New Jersey?
No, in your life. Even when I'm like today, looking at your bloody like.
All right, you
trying
told
to do
me to
stuff.
make a schedule.
You're clicking on this, clicking that. I can't even focus. You're like, no, gotta fix it. Gotta fix it. Is it this? Is it this?
I'm just trying to fix it.
Yeah, but the way you fix it is like trying to shoehorn a BMW engine into a Mini. You're like, there you go. It's still a car.
It's fast.
It's not the point.
I know. Just because you're not familiar with my machine and where things are laid out, I think that feels like I'm being frenetic and I'm just clicking all over the place when there is like a method to my madness. He's nodding his head no, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's a shaking in my head.
You can nod in both directions.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. I'm not like some kind
I just pictured someone who wasn't able to nod in both directions. It's so sad. Oh my gosh, I'm so professional.
What's going on now?
My mom just messaged me.
Okay, good.
See, I'm telling you, it's just one of those days, man.
Stop it. Like,
I know it's
stop
easy to
spreading
lean
the energy?
into it.
No, first
it's
of all,
easy to lean into it once it's gone that way.
In an hour and 15 minutes, we have to record because we're now having to get in sync with weather.
Yeah.
Just so that we don't have any background noise, and we can't do it in the morning because we have this alarm system that like goes off in the morning at the same time and updates the rest of nature.
Yeah,
God knows what it's saying.
A winged alarm system. So yeah, it's for me when I see. Listen, if I was gonna have just like a hippy dippy, whatever mystical, go with the flow, maybe I'll just draw on my hand outside with henna for an hour and a half kind of day. I don't mind working late and just like letting the day take me and being creative. But when I set a schedule, see, now we switch to the German side. When I schedule the day out to the absolute minute, which yes, I will admit that's psychotic to do, and then I'm doing the thing at 10 o'clock that I was supposed to have done at 8 in the morning. That is like a fuck show to me.
Yeah, but you didn't factor in life into your schedule.
Who needs it?
Yeah, but you didn't factor anything else into it. It's like, this is going to happen.
I put gaming time even on it. I even put gaming time for us to game and make breads.
Yeah, but you didn't put any time in there for the actual thing to be done.
No,
it was just like, this will happen in half an hour. This will happen in the next hour.
If you say that, then you have to get it done in half an hour, and then it does happen.
No.
You will it to happen.
Just because you put it in Notion, that is Notion.
That
doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen.
It's Notion HQ on
I've
Twitter.
only been using the Notion for 10 days, and now you're asking me to like keep an eye on the notifications and stuff.
I made a schedule down like to the half hour, like literally scheduled our snacks, our breaks, our gaming time, making bread to the half hour, and then I had a 5 minutes prior notification for each block of time.
It's just too much, mate. I don't know what you're trying to do to yourself.
This is what happened. I'll tell you. If I have to deep dive my psyche, this is what happened. I just sat up straight to tell you. I woke up this morning overwhelmed. I knew we had to do 2 podcasts, record for a new client.
We don't have to do 2 podcasts.
We do if we say we do.
It would be nice if we're going to get them done, but...
Right. But I woke up feeling overwhelmed, and I was like, this is what I do. I take that overwhelming energy, and I put it into an organized situation so that I feel like I've dealt with it, and I can just step through. But then... like all this fuckery happened with the machine and with nature, birds screaming, the end of the world, like raining cats and dogs, everything happened. Audio inputs. Then I'm watching GarageBand tutorials on YouTube, and then I'm like 45 minutes behind my schedule that I put out, and then that's eating away at me. It's like, once you set a schedule, then that's just something that's there to mock you when you don't do it. And then that makes it worse. So I regret making the schedule.
All of that, I appreciate it. And I can see it was overwhelming. I thought it was fucking Friday today.
I know. You were just happy that we had an extra day in the week.
So, like, one of us had the ability to, like, diffuse some of the day. Because if it was Friday, it would have been a complete fuck show. Like, a real problem. Because we would have had to do certain things and
I wouldn't have even taken the job. Like,
right. All right. So, pulling everything back, this is a story about virtual working, remote working.
Days are like this. Yeah.
But the thing is, there's a lot of things in flux right now, right? There's lots of applications that are popping up that allow us to do virtual work in a better way, in the way that we've got used to.
I'm excited about that.
You know, the Steam Tasker thing you just did a logo for today. I've got a job for 50 Steam from Tip Fox to do like a video on his DIY group thing.
Right?
Yeah, like those are the things that proactively I want to get into. Here's the thing. This is why me and you get on. Your schedule, fantastic. Hardcore,
but you didn't think so.
Too much.
I know, and you know what? I didn't even enjoy making it. I was like,
you got so annoyed at me when I didn't get the first notification.
Well, yes.
Like I didn't know my history lesson.
But yes, and because I didn't even want to make the damn thing in the beginning, but when you tell me make a schedule, that's where my brain goes.
You did a schedule for the day. I wanted a schedule for the client. You were like, we're going to eat then, we're going to play games here, you're going to get
This morning, first thing, you're making breakfast, and you're like, okay, just make a schedule and we'll step through it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I put my headphones on and I scheduled out like our pee breaks.
You should have known when I said, thank God it's Thursday.
No, and then later.
I was down for anything.
And then later in the day when we had like a mini fight about it, you go, I told you said make a schedule, and you were like, well, what does it have to do with time? And I was like, what do you mean? A schedule without time is just a list.
No.
You want me to make a list?
Well, what? Okay, so poor communication on my behalf, maybe. But when I say schedule, I meant like, what steps did you want me to go through? They didn't have to be fucking... I'm not driving a tank and firing rockets towards a certain place on GPS coordinates.
And then 5 minutes before, like, the first thing that was in the schedule, I was like, did you get the notification? And you opened it up and you were like, fuck this. Like, I could
too much.
I know it was. It
wasn't even a calendar view. It was a list with times on. It's like, what the fuck is this? It was like lines, but with clocks at the end of each one. It was like, what order do I, like, where do I, like, it wasn't even a step through. So,
I know.
All good. I mean, we've got to record it now tonight, which I'm cool with because we both had coffee. But I think my negative in that is depending on, I appreciate where you're going with that in terms of, I have a day to be able to get these things done. If I can get these things done, I'll feel good about my income rate, my work rate. Even if I've dropped the ball creatively on these days or whatever, it's like I've done a solid on that.
Yeah,
I get that, and I think we'll get it done. It won't be a problem. I've just made some bread. Like,
yeah, and you made coffee. I didn't even have a sip of that coffee.
Let me grab your coffee.
It's right there. Can you grab it? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a shell of a human today.
No, it's all right.
Because I just get so worked up, and I want to be one of those people who doesn't care about things, but I get so worked up, and like, I can't
it's not
deliver
about not
something
caring.
that's not perfect.
It's not about caring about.
I'm bad.
It's not about not caring about things. It was the fact that when I said it flippantly to you, like, get a schedule together. What I meant, what I should have said is, give me a list of things that you want me to do for the client, or like literally pull me out of, like, give me a time, like 11 o'clock, I need you to do this.
Yeah.
I think the best way to activate me is to be like, pull me into a room, come and grab me and be like, okay, here's the here's the podcasting mic, like, I need you to do this, you know,
it needs
like,
to be like
here.
set up so that you can just perform.
Yeah, I used to get schedules sent to me and I wouldn't even fucking read them, like emails.
Yeah, me neither. But that's why I hate being the schedule person.
Until somebody came and knocked on my studio door, and gave me the script and say, you're on in 20 minutes. Like, oh fuck, okay.
Yeah, I was always that person in school too, like 10 minutes before. Yeah. Just figure it out.
So, but once I get it, like, I'm on the case with it.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have worked anyway.
No, and because we were literally fighting the elements, and that's the part that's frustrating. As much as I'm extremely hard on myself, then when it's outside of my control, then I don't even know what to do with that energy, because I'm like, what do I just sit here and wait?
Right.
Oof.
Yeah, you just need something to be able to divert for that. I'm going to chuck a positive in here for a couple of minutes. We are seeing a bunch more people for audience size come in, like it literally doubled in size last week. So thank you everybody who's like listening and sharing it and everything. If you want to retweet it out, comment on Twitter, all that stuff, that'll be fantastic. We don't normally call out for anything that stuff, but when you kind of know there's people out there and it starts to move up, you think, oh shit, you've got like some kind of, you got a responsibility to call that out. Otherwise I'm just talking into the ether, which I thought we were anyway. But on top of that, what I will say is that it's great to also see a couple of bucks in there from sponsors. I know there's gobs of money floating around, so like getting some money back paid from what I see as centralized systems, which I've never had anything back from centralized systems, to actually get something back from like hosting audio somewhere feels pretty good. Yeah, I'd love to see like people invest more in decentralized systems like dsound could do with your help, which is dsound.audio. If you want to host immutable sounds, audio, podcast, music on the Steem blockchain, go and check that out. Really cool.
If you're familiar with SoundCloud,
yes,
it's a very similar interface, so you'll feel right at home.
And I should add a positive that I found out about. It's for about 8 episodes. I couldn't work out why I couldn't add a sponsor piece, like a musical sponsor piece to our podcasts. Yeah. And it turns out that it's very much an American thing. So I found out if I log in with an American VPN, I can log into my account and I can actually save it. They actually told me that it's written into the code base. So depending on
only US podcasts have it at the minute.
Like wherever you're even if you are a US podcaster and you're based in the US and you go traveling to somewhere else,
right.
Like, and you log into the site, you can't set it's like a visual bug.
Yeah.
Because it picks it up on the geolocation, and I think the geolocation is locked down. I'm not trying to be overly technical here, but I think it's locked down to where you're surfing in from, because the ads are very specific to American advertisers.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah,
so
all of our sponsors are American. So
yeah,
I think we did like shade Anchor for a while, and we were complaining about that, mostly because they weren't getting back to us, and we couldn't get to the bottom of it.
Well, yeah, I was emailing an email, but I know they got bought out with Spotify, but like, how many nights out do you need now? You've got 200 million. Come on, give me a break. Like, we had 2 podcasts, you know, this one Positively Negative, and the other one, if you don't know about that, you should go and check that out, which is productsense. So anchor.fm/positive is this one. Subscribe. Send us a donation if you want to. God, I'm doing lots of like social media influencer.
That's okay. It's better
things.
than doing it at the end, because that's when everybody turns off.
Yeah, well, they've already probably turned off, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
I always feel like people are like,
no. I think it's really cool to see that things are growing.
Yeah.
Our podcast revenue doubled in like a couple days, which literally went from $1 to $2.
Yeah.
But like, just for it to double, we were like, it's almost a cup of coffee.
You know, something like that. It just, I don't know. It's not. I never set out for it to be. I mean, even when we set up Anchor, it didn't have that feature.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I never set out for it to be that. But there's something about knowing that it just feels great for you to put your time and effort into something. I mean, you're spending time. Everybody's like, oh, time has a cost. Time has a cost. You must make money all hours of the day. But I actually feel like I would rather have the connection. I would rather have friendships and connections with people who've listened to these things and then be like, I could get on with those guys.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't got the time in my life at the age that I am, I feel now, because I'm playing big time catch up. I feel like you feel like that sometimes too with some things.
Always.
Yeah.
But I've always felt like that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, even when I was a kid, I always had this, like, this awareness and this sense of, like, am I where I should be for who I am at where I am and my age? Like, I always felt, and we talked about this a little bit last week, like, not in a comparative I'm better or I'm worse, but I always felt like I wanted to be ahead of where I should be in my class, or learning wise or skill wise. Like, I don't know, but I always have that feeling like, you know, the guilt that you feel from sleeping in, or I feel maybe only from sleeping in. I've felt like that over my entire life sometimes.
No, I understand what you're saying about that.
Like, oh my God, I'm late. Wake up.
Maybe we were both abducted by aliens as kids, and then we were just like, we're replicants, and we found our way back because we vibrate on the same frequency.
If I'm a replicant, I wanna trade this body in for another one. Because I got a lemon, man. Like, I'm sore, dude. My back hurts.
My back, my crack. No. Everything's not right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I got the Chevy Yugo of backs.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm all right. I just need to get out a little bit more yoga and more sunshine.
So, yeah, it's kind of a negative start to the day, but I know for a fact that we'll crush this thing tonight. I know that Dell will be editing it and wanting to get it to the client. They've been super reasonable. This is the thing as well that annoys me really in some ways, is that this is a client that got in touch with us a couple of months back. They could be a potential ongoing big client because it's regular work.
Yeah.
It's a certain kind of quality of work. It's a certain type of pacing of work. Very clear pronunciations from further afield. So like China, South Korea, they're doing a lot of English tutoring and training. So it could be really good for us. The thing is that we did a sample of it a couple of months back, and then they kind of like, oh no, we're going with somebody else, and then now they've come back around again.
Yeah.
And it could be one of those things where it just ends up, you know, triggering off a whole bunch more work.
Yeah.
But that's one of the biggest problems about freelancing or trying to build up an archive of stuff, and we're slowly getting better at storytelling everything that we're able to tell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, a lot of people will you'll bump into somebody at a network gig and say, how are you doing? They'll say, oh, so busy, got so much on. Right, and then you'll be like, go to the website, and that website's garbage. Like, there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
So I think we've got better at, like, we did this, or we can do this, or we're able to do that. And I see a lot of stuff on social where people are like advertising the things they're able to do. I think that's the new social, actually, is people like, I made this today.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I remade my main website this week. Like, every year or so, I just completely trash it, and you wake up and you're like, I hate this. What's this trash? This is garbage. When you loved it a year ago. And I used one of our themes from ihascard.co.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Which, by the way, let me throw this out. We just remade that as well. We had to think about it, and it was like, who's going to buy a couple of themes at this, that, and the other? Yes, you might, but you're probably not going to do that. And actually, people like the whole buffet kind of thing. They want everything at a price.
Yeah.
So what we've done is completely changed all that to like $97, and it's everything. Like 20 themes, and then whenever we make new themes, you get them as well. It's like a lifetime thing. I know you see those cheesy things online. It's like lifetime, but seriously, we love to make themes, and whenever we see something, it's like that would speed up building an MVP, like a minimum viable product for that. And most of the people that we see in our news feeds, in our feed on Upwork is, I need something doing for this. And you go and have a look, scroll down, it's like, I can give you $30.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you want me to build you this whole thing for like $30? And you know from their text and the way they've written it is they need something today, or they need something tomorrow, so they can go to their boss and be like, what do you reckon?
Yeah, and you can still grab one of them for $12. We lowered the price on that as well if you just really wanted one.
Yeah.
Which is helpful, but we have like a backlog of probably,
I would say at least 20.
No, I'm saying like of just even concepts that we haven't even built out yet, like of new ones that we want to do.
Oh yeah,
so
for sure.
Everything's going to be included, if you were to get all of them.
I worked it out.
All the future ones.
With some of the ideas and future ones. There's 10 firm ones that need doing. We've got 20 already. I reckon there's easily double the amount.
Yeah.
Of what we got.
Because like you said, we have those conversations every day. We're like, oh my God, that would make a great site. So.
Well, we should add to this that even if we didn't sell any of the themes, the idea behind it was that at some point when we do live streaming or want to do content for Steamcasting, is that we would pick somebody on the Steam blockchain or just somebody randomly that we have on video and just make it live.
Yeah.
Just take one of the themes and be like, right, okay, give me all your graphics, give me all your text, what do you
just
want?
Work on it.
And then with the host that we got, because I really like card.co, they charge like $19 a year for the hosting. I'd have to charge them for it because it's all in with my hosting. And then if you want a domain, you just chuck a domain on it.
Yeah.
Now it's only for like landing pages and stuff, but I think that most people these days, they just want something basic before they go to the next level.
Yeah, and also I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig to do kind of like a...
So yours is on Haydale, right?
Right, so haydale.com is my new site, but it's based on the freelancer theme that I made as well. And
I really enjoyed making all those though.
I did too.
Seriously, like,
well, ever since I made that theme, I was like, damn, I want that theme.
I want to use
like,
it.
yeah, like I got like that's how you
That's
know
when you
can eat your own dog food
right.
is like what they say, right?
Yeah, right.
But like back to what you were saying, this is and I've been making myself portfolio websites since like, when did Behance come out? In 2006.
Yeah.
That was my first like digital portfolio. I was like,
really?
I'm a professional graphic designer. I got a Behance. You ever heard of it, fam? Like I was slanging that Behance all around town. But I've always had trouble making a portfolio because I've always had a hard time framing what I do.
Right.
Because I've always operated from the position of, what do you need? Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Instead of, this is what I do, let me lay it out for you. I've always played that relationship on the defense, and probably until this past year or so. I think Upwork had a lot to do with that, in terms of like just building my confidence.
Validation, yeah.
Yeah, as a freelancer, and like getting those positive reviews and being in those ranks and everything else.
It's interesting, isn't it, how like you can be annoyed about the 1% in the world who've got all the money, but as soon as you become the 1% on Upwork of talent, it's like it changes your relationship with the validation towards money.
Well, yeah, and I don't even think about the money either. It's more like I've always felt like it was really reductionist.
You know your worth now, right?
Well, I'm working on it, but like, I mean, yes, much better than I ever did. But I've always had a problem saying, "Hi, I'm Dale. I'm a designer. I'm a this," because we don't ever only do one thing.
I'm not a box person,
right?
No.
And so when you ask somebody like me to make a portfolio of what I do, I'm like, what don't I do?
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a million projects all over the place.
Yeah.
And like, if you give me a task and clear guidelines, I can crush it for you. But I'm awful at like.
Do you think it's people want to have a plumber, an electrician, an IT guy, a flower, a lifestyle guy? I think it might be people are just like, what the fuck? Why do you do all these things? Why can't you do one thing? Do people find that confusing?
Or I think they assume you can't be really good at it if you do a bunch of things.
Interesting.
That's what I think. I think that they think that like if you're like the Aldi.
You see, that annoys me because if you're not allowing me to like breathe into wanting to swap and change to other things, then you there's no way that you're going to get to know me as a person. And if you're not going to get to know me as a person, then we will never have a business relationship past money.
Well, yeah.
Do you get what I mean by that?
Think about all of like the most highest paying jobs, as just aside from being like a CEO of a random inflated startup, like skill wise, those are hyper specialized skills that people go in and they do one thing. Just literally got a message on Upwork. Wow. Okay, universe. I hear you, fam.
If we talk about it enough, they come.
So all of that to say, whenever I've built myself, every year when I rebuild myself a website, I avoid the portfolio part because I'm terrible at framing what I can help you with or what I would like to do, because I've always, and it's also been a survival mindset thing. It's also been like, oh, you got money? Well, what do you need? Okay, I can help you with that. Right. And it was I never felt like I was the one choosing the client. I felt like the client was always choosing me. So I felt like I had to be everything to everyone.
Well, we're the kind of people who learn on the job on our own time, rather than like I can't ever see myself, knowing how frenetic and like all over the place I can appear to the outside world, ever sitting in a design class and learning design. I'm not one who enjoys not necessarily ingesting information, but then being part of a clique of people who know that information. That I can't stand it when I sit next to somebody on a table who's like pontificating about
just
like design and stuff.
What they have heard someone else say.
It's almost like the gentrification of intellect. I use that quite a lot, but it comes across to me as kind of like smug, and I just can't stand it. It's just not where, it's not my pay grade. It's not my education level. Like
right.
I don't feel comfortable around that. I'm very much an empathy heart person. I'm very grounded. I'm not flighty and determined to absorb all the knowledge on planet Earth. We have fucking computers for that.
It's just not a currency for you. For some people, it's a currency.
Well, it's just not the way I access that shouldn't be predicated by my upbringing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it, if I'm honest.
Right.
So when I come across that, it feels like glorification of being able to discuss it, whereas I'm like, let's get our hands dirty. Like, what do you need to do? Like, because it doesn't matter how much design talent and skill you've got, you could be the head of communication doing videos. If you're not making videos, what are you the head of?
Yeah.
Like, that annoys me, that somebody will play position in a company to take a wage and just be the name on a business card.
But you know what, that's exactly
just because you went to college for 5 years,
right,
and you played the game,
right,
and your credentials fit and you fit in the company, and the company's happy that they've got somebody who's got that education.
How many times have you seen somebody with a title that seemed like fancy and whatever, and then you figure out what they do in that role and you're like, oh, I'm one of those, I could do that, or I've been doing that. That's been my whole life.
I've hung out for 5 or 6 years with top of the range Dell execs that were on point from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. At 5:05 the fucking tie was off and they were the biggest drunk in the world.
Well, there's like that, they character-wise.
No, but they played their Dell executive chief role. Like, I know I'm going to be on film, and I'm now going to be in a presentation, I'm going to walk the floor, people are going to ask me, they're going to see my Dell, but you know, like, all of this. But as soon as they were just human beings at 5:05, it's like,
and I think I always had been intimidated by certain things, or coordinator of so and so, and this and that and this and that, and that's something that's funny for me because it's not something I've ever chased. So I didn't idolize it, but I felt like intimidated by it.
Of course, that's exactly what they want you to feel, that because these are all economies. There's distraction economies. There's the permission economies. Like, people won't talk about it, but like, they're everywhere.
But now, like, everywhere. I feel like we watched that movie called They Live with Mr. Rowdy Piper.
Yeah.
And when they put the glasses on and they see like all these subliminal messages, like when you can train yourself as a freelancer to see past the titles, the buzzwords, the like, you know, the things that clients say over and over that they don't even know what they mean, and you can get really down to the point of what is the need, what do
you want to achieve,
and can I do that for you? Then that takes everything else melts away, and I feel like there's a confidence that you can gain in that, because you're like, you can just pinpoint
maybe some people
what that is.
Maybe some people like the not the illusion, but maybe some people like the idea of wearing their skills like a coat.
Yeah, but that's the part that I hated, because I've always had this like thing where when somebody says, shakes your hand and says, "Hi, I'm a librarian." Does that mean you are a book sorting robot? That I am, like, just in terms of, like, in philosophy, I used to explore, like, words a lot. I am a librarian. You took your entire identity as a human being and you summed it up in the job that you do for a couple hours a week. I've never been okay with that. And so then when I go to the border and they want to know what I do for a living, I'm like, oh, well, I do digital stuff, and, like, I'm here and there, and I sometimes take videos, and I sometimes make photos, and if you need a logo, I got you too, and voiceover. Like, I always have a hard time saying I am a such and such. That's the answer that people want because there's brevity in it.
I know you have a problem with that. I sat on a plastic chair for 3 hours waiting for the grey, which was really the purple phone, to answer it, to make sure that our questions
when somebody's asking me, like, a very simple, straightforward question of really what do you do that brings in money, I have an existential crisis, and I'm like, oh, you want me to, like, sum up my entire identity in one word? Well, I can't do that for you, so here's some long-winded bullshit that you don't understand and you didn't ask for.
I'm interested in the journey that got you there, because if you look at the data, our job, people of our age, well, even from, like, 25 or up to, like, 45, they're having, like, 20, 30 jobs anyway. Like, you're swapping and changing jobs based on market factors bigger than ever. Like, you might be working it, you might be in food, you might be in sales, you might be marketing, you might be doing this. I know there's people in crypto who didn't know anything about crypto a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, doing kind of, like, promotion stuff on video and being on camera and, like,
and then they're the new authority just because they're the ones who open their mouth first.
People just switching. Like, I remember going to, like, South by Southwest, and already the two women on the journey, they were making switches towards the cannabis industry because they knew it was going to pop off at some point because they'd read about it, and then bang, they're an authority in it because they've got the journey, the legacy of the last 5 years of going into it, and then that economy pops and bang, they're there until they need to move on to the next one. So
I forgot, like, what my original point was, but I think it was something along the lines of making this site this time, my portfolio, in my 2019 Haydale.com, if I could plug it again, was the easiest it's ever been for me to be like, bang, this is what I do, this categories, organization, like, I think that's a mark of something that changed in me as a freelancer and as a person, with my my confidence in my work and what I do and what I want to do, what I want to do more of, because I'm not going to advertise work that I hate doing to you to show you that I can do it, but then when you hire me to do it, I'm miserable.
Maybe some people get into industries because they want to be like other people. Maybe people get into painting and art and design and other things because they see other people and they want to live like them, or they want the numbers. I've seen so many people who make videos, like jump cut, like trip hop videos, to try and when you really break that down, what is it? What do you want Casey's life? Do you want his skateboard? Do you want his style? Do you want his life? Like, what are people trying to do by doing that? I find that really, really interesting, because it automatically sorts people out for me when people don't explore their unique abilities. Right, like if I go into a room of people and people are like, oh yeah, I'm a bit like this sort of style, within 15 seconds of watching your YouTube video, if it's just like that, it's like you're a clone. Like, who wants to be a clone? Like, who enjoys being a clone? And trip hop is forever ruined for me now because of Casey. I love Casey. Casey's amazing.
Yeah, but all you can think of is sped up motion video of outside plane windows. And then, like, some jazz. I mean, he dominated a whole, like, vlog style. Like, that's great. He got people communicating, but there's only when you're watching a video and it's like, oh, you can see the cues from other people, and I think it's the hardest thing as well, because then imitation is this, like, insane kind of jealousy and flattery and whatever. In this creates these almost like, I don't know, what's that film with the 3 levels deep where they're just... Inception. Yeah.
It creates this almost like social media inception where everybody's kind of like worrying if they've got imposter syndrome because they want to get a message out, but they don't, how do you style it? And then I've always had a bit of a beef about the entry point to vlogging shouldn't be predicated on how good your camera equipment is. Yeah. Like, just because you've got money and you can buy great kit doesn't make you a great vlogger. Right. Like, you can have the best story in the world, but, like, if you're making a decision on somebody based on their equipment, like, I'm out. Yeah. I'm out because that's not the humans that I hang with.
Yeah.
I want humans.
And that's what we see a lot of the time. I think that frustrates us when on Upwork, which is like people see the end result and I understand it because that's not their world, and so that's the best way they have to describe it.
Sure.
But it's like, I need you to be my D-Rock because I need what Gary V has.
Yeah.
I need his type of video.
Or I need a viral video editor. Like, that's a thing you can buy. You can't buy a viral video editor.
I need to go viral.
Why would somebody who's a viral video editor...
Where's the line for the viral videos?
No, but why would somebody who's a viral video maker do any work for anybody else?
But yes, and also, do you know me? Every single client who's ever told me I want to go viral, do you know what I said to them? That would be your worst nightmare because you are too small. Like if Oprah put you on her favorite things list next year, you'd be fucked. You couldn't fulfill the orders. You couldn't keep up with it. You don't have the social media in place to deal with that or leverage that type of exposure. I think people think that exposure just equals a free ride for the rest of your life. And it's not. It can be a nightmare if you're not ready for it.
Which is where I think the disconnect is, because I'm happy to have this kind of life where I get up and hustle for that. I feel like I'm in the moment. I feel like I'm determined and driven. Yeah, I'd like a life where I can do a couple of projects a year and I got paid a large amount for it. But I know what I would do. I would just buy loads of stuff and I would end up like the other YouTubers or video people, like, here's me with this camera and I got a new lens today and here's an unboxing. Like, unboxings need to die. Like, unboxings, nobody needs to see somebody open a box of something. I've done them in the past and I've grown up and realized that you're just showing off. You're just sitting there with a knife opening a package because you're proud to have the package.
I agree and I disagree about unboxings.
Didn't we have a big conversation about waste with boxings and stuff?
Oh yeah, well yeah, and cosmetics for sure. Oh, and I had a little project about that this week too. But yes, but if you watch a channel for unboxings, I totally agree. But if you are channel agnostic, I found unboxings to be really helpful when I'm doing research about something I want to buy. So like, I won't watch like Unbox Therapy, you know, just like,
yeah, but those guys get straight. Most of the time, those guys get straight into it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they don't want to see it either. Like the first 10 or 15 seconds.
So it comes with headphones. Here's the USB dongle. It's a USB 3.
You don't need to show me the you don't need to show me the paperwork that you're not going to read or I'm going to not read.
But when I was researching headphones, I watched a million unboxings because I wanted to be able to. I didn't want to have to make that decision when it was in my hand that I didn't like it or it wasn't what I expected. So I kind of used somebody else's experience to inform what was going to be my choice. Which, like, Amazon has free returns anyway, but it's just the disappointment factor of being excited about getting something and then it being wrong.
It's something I'm going to throw out there just in the hope that somebody from a brand manufacturer gets this. Like, follow the lead from some of the healthcare like market. They're putting stuff inside their packages where you can get the next one free. Okay, that's nice for like getting something more.
Oh, like for supplements.
But also you can be putting a thing in there of how can I talk about this product?
Yeah.
Through the internet.
Yeah.
Like, how can I talk about this sociably? How can I talk about this from an ethics point of view? How can I talk about this from a sustainability point of view? Like, that's what we need to have in packaging. I don't give a shit if you can do unboxing for me as long as when you flip the lid, there's like 3 like commandments of getting the most out of that product and how it ended up being on that desk.
I like that.
Because until we fix that brand advocate thing, we've got thousands of people doing unboxings of cardboard boxes.
And you know what's funny is it's a visual medium, and all the unboxing is the person describing what you can extremely clearly see with their 4K camera.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got a blue label, and this part like opens up, and like, I'm looking at it, fam. You don't have to describe that part to me. Thank you.
I don't know, man. That maybe people are so. I don't know. I can respect the camera angles. I can respect the lighting. I can respect the sliders and the slow motion. But there has to be a point where you sit back and go, this is not video that I'm making for me. This is video I'm making for the algorithm. I'm making video for the algorithm that is going to give me hopefully some money by AdSense. That's a foolhardy way of, you know, people talk about it in quotes. This is my career. It's a career to feed an algorithm in the hope of a pursuit of 30 days later of getting AdSense money.
Like an algorithm fluffer.
Career.
I mean, like, people do it with blockchains.
Like, there's people 2 blocks from you who are starving. There's volunteer projects nearby who have terrible websites that look like they're from the 80s with Starfield backgrounds and marquees. Like, don't do an unboxing today. Go and do an hour video down there and get to know those people. Like, that's what at street level video blogging and content. I want to see that content.
Yeah.
We've got an opportunity now with decentralized media. I don't want to hear people like, oh, I have to go to work though and I can't do proper creative like work that I want to. You can. With decentralized content, you can. You actually get paid for that content now.
Yeah.
You can make not a living in terms, you might have to minimize your earning potential, but if you really, 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 truly want to not just gloat about having new technology and you actually want to use it for storytelling because you feel like you have something to say, you feel like a yearning in your heart to take that camera out at like 11 o'clock, 2 a.m. and whatever, or, you know, you actually get out of bed and you don't care that you're tired at 5 a.m. because you want to like shoot some footage because you're desperate to get that shot. There's ways and means to do that now. You don't have to negatively just be like, oh, I'm going to put my creative side on hold while I go and do the 9 to 5 and play position. Like, there's opportunity out there. There's so much opportunity out there. Because all the markets are all over the place. I don't know where I was going with that, but like...
Well, you kind of were touching on this a little bit earlier, and I kind of want to bring it back around to... I have a note in here that says the price of being an early adopter, because we had a situation this week where we had a problem with a card payment system.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Which is like brand new, and we had this whole. You can tell the story to whatever depth that you want to have, but there was an exchange with somebody who was like very dismissive.
Yeah.
Because it was something that was not in their regular everyday wheelhouse, and,
right?
And it kind of made us think like, oh, you know, people do like having those gloating rights of being the first one to have this and this and that and talking about it on social media, but in the day-to-day, there's also challenges there.
She disarmed me totally with that comment, like, because for me, just because the card doesn't look like a normal card and it's like this mint green, and therefore to her it was weird, it's sparked a bigger thing. I'm going to write about it. It's going to be a big long post.
Well,
but it was
tell the background of what it was and why it was weird.
So the background to it is that I wanted to get a backup card so that if I wanted to deal with crypto, I can like move like BTC to this card. I was going to get the card a year ago, then everything fell apart with Wavecrest, so all the cards got pulled. And so this wasn't like a new thing I was going to get. It's
like a Visa-based top-up situation,
correct.
But like there's a crypto element to it. But
it's a crypto element.
In terms of like paying and ATMs, it's the same as any other debit card.
It should be. It should be.
Right.
So I loaded it up. I've got you can have lots of different balances on it. So I knew there was money on it. 20 minutes before we went into the store, I paid for coffee with it, no problem. Yeah. Not even anything back from this woman. I just did the till bang, contactless, thank you very much, on my way, no questions, no qualms. Interesting, generational. She was a lot younger. Do you know what I mean? She was in her 20s, 25 something. Get into this supermarket and use it on the till, and it doesn't do anything. The contactless doesn't work. Now, I didn't realise it till afterwards, but the whole system had gone down, so it would have never worked if I put it in the machine or put it on the top. But she said to me, oh well, you know, maybe it's because you've got a weird card.
Yeah, she said exactly that. She was like, no, it's because it's, you know, one of those weird cards or something.
But then so I mean, there's lots of things that went through my head in terms of, it's interesting that the undiscovered or the unknown about or the uneducated about sparks alarm in people, right?
Of course.
And yet, like, if in the digital realm, unbeknown to these people like shopping for their cheap like weekly shops, whereas BTC was going through the roof, and therefore, you know, the site that I just signed up to was getting unprecedented demand because everybody was trying to like flip their BTC into GBP,
pull money out, right?
Which made the whole system fall down, which made it unreliable. Right. It came back like 3 or 4 hours later, but like
in that moment of of course, that window of when we needed it, it happened to be down
knows?
then.
DOS attack, whatever. The weird thing about it as well, like about 20 minutes after there, I went to a cash machine and pulled the money out. Right. I actually used it to pull money out. But those things make me feel like, people talk about being alienated by technology. I was alienated by this person because I knew about technology.
Yeah.
And you know, I was not fighting my corner, but I was like, you know, I should have said, oh, it's a new card and whatever. But the fact that she said it's a weird card.
But first of all, she didn't know anything about it other than it was a different color. She didn't know that it was a crypto situation. She didn't know any of the backstory.
It's green. It's a green light. It's go. Like,
it's literally
just
a slightly... the style of it looks a little bit... That's all she meant even by it was a weird card. And because of her visual input, reading that as I've never seen a card that looks like that. It could have been from freaking...
Yeah.
You know...
Could have been any country.
It could have been...
On Earth.
Or, you know, it could have been from... what those jerks who are with Apple now?
Who?
Goldman Sachs.
Oh,
it could have been
right.
like, you know, literally any card, but because somebody made a design decision and this woman, that looked like a different thing to her, it was like, oh, it doesn't work because that's a weird card.
Isn't that like we were talking earlier on about the other people, is that you go to an event or a conference and people come up to and I'm a designer. Like, for me, that's kind of set me on a back foot, because it's like, oh, designer, like, depending on how they're dressed, I might be super judgmental at that moment, like, oh, so you earn a lot of money, so we can't be friends, so I'm not on your pay grade. I don't like the things you like necessarily. Like, I never do that. I never say I'm just such and such.
Well, yeah.
And maybe it's the style, maybe that's what it really is about these days, is the style of the person they think you are, and the style of the way that you pay for things, you know, affects people.
And it's also about knowing when to fight those battles. Like, what I needed to learn was that when the person at the border is asking me, what are you? I need to give a damn fucking simple answer.
Yeah,
I need to put my own ego behind,
right,
and realize that this person is just trying to figure out if I'm a problem.
That's
it.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't have a translation mechanism for that. I didn't have a varying degrees of what type of like, I didn't have a contextual, I'm having this type of conversation, so I give this answer. I wanted the answer for my identity that fit best, and I could never find it. Because you can't quantify somebody into I am a such and such. But sometimes you need to just be like, yep, it's a weird card. Hi, I'm a designer.
I sometimes feel that, like, especially at borders, they want you to say a certain thing, so, and then everything outside of that is like, that's the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember going to America in the early years, maybe the third time I went to South by, and said, oh yeah, I'm a blogger. The hell's a blogger, the guy says to me.
Yeah, you don't say that. See, that's a problem. Even now it's still a problem. I mean, less so, but it still is.
But bloggers get paid to... It's interesting to me that a security guard at a border will know what a newspaper is, but won't know what and what writers are, and the fact there's writers who write those columns in newspapers, but they don't know the digital version of that. That's interesting to me.
That's a failing on the system, one of many, of course, but like, they should be educated on not just what sounds like an actual job, what is an actual job. You know, like, if I didn't have Upwork, I would be kind of stuffed, and, you know, Upwork obviously takes their cuts, and we have complaints about that being centralized, but
well, you wouldn't be stuffed. You've got other things that you got going on. Like,
but like, I have a printout from them.
They
are a company with a logo.
Right.
As far as these people know, they're a company with a logo and a signature at the bottom that says, this is Dale, she does this, and this is how much she gets paid for it.
Right.
And because I have that to ping back to and to recall, that makes me legitimate. If I was completely on my own, I'd have a whole nother set of battles to fight. So it is like... the price of being an early adopter is kind of funny, because you have, not only are you struggling with things from the technology end of them working out the bugs and that being unreliable in the beginning and that being finicky, but then you have like people on the other side being like, oh, well, we don't know what that is, so it must not be legitimate.
But nowadays it's about people wanting to pay people who've been through that, but they don't want to know about it. It's like, in a year's time or 2 years' time, when people come to me and say, which crypto bank or which crypto card should I use, which is the best, a bit like the AOL days of which free internet service should I use on a CD disc. Like, they're all free. Like, when did quality become free? What I'm noticing more and more is that people want the end result. They don't necessarily want to know how you got to it. They just don't want you to be a problem to them. Like, they'll pay
I am Dale, and I'm a designer. That's it. And if you ask me what I design, pretty skincare boxes. That's it. And that can be, for this moment, I'm secure enough in my own identity to know that can be my identity for this moment. And then when I get through security, then I can be whatever magical unicorn I feel like being. My identity is limitless and infinite. And you can't keep me down, motherfuckers. But for right now, hi, my name is Dale, and I'm a designer.
I'm going to end it there. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
We'll catch up with you soon. It's been a lot of fun. It's been emotional. Yeah.
You can support the show by heading to anchor.fm/positive and clicking the support this podcast button, or by checking out any of this week's sponsors.
Subscribe to Positively Negative wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can hang out with us on Discord by visiting smarturl.it/talkback.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yay! Bye!